to be the man, you gotta beat the man right here.
Is the future of wrestling. You can call this the new world order of wrestling, brother.
Nobody is on my level. Everything I touch turns to gold.
Believe it or not, whether you like it or don't like it, learn to love it, because you have to listen to Wrestling is Real. It is the best thing going today. Woo!
After roughly 9 months with the Bloodline, working his way up to be an honorarius and basically being brought into the family, let's just say that Sami Zayn takes a shot to Roman Reigns, cuts himself in the Bloodline, and that's it. And now we have two things that are definitely for sure at the end of that main event. Sami Zayn is now a full-fledged face, and the Bloodline are now absolutely heels. F you Roman chants at the end of the night. That ending was quite vicious. And I'm saying it in a good way. Very good storytelling. You really took a lot of time, and the build up to it with the tribal court and all that was really good. That all culminated into tonight, and when you see the way it was put together. So, Kevin Owens was getting brutalized at the end of the match. Sami Zayn, they were playing into that storyline where Kevin Owens, was basically getting destroyed, and Roman Reigns was going to basically take him with a chair, take him out. Got the win, but that wasn't enough. Roman Reigns wanted to make more of an example, handcuffing the Kevin Owens, battering him down. They threw a lot at him. All those super kicks by the Usos. And then, they really did good. It took about 20 minutes to get through this, but they did a really good job of putting Sami Zayn through the pressure of saying, okay, that's enough. His good friend Kevin Owens. They made a point of that. And here we are. And Roman Reigns wanted to put Sami Zayn to the breaking point. He wanted to get him there. The way they got us there was really sharp. That's probably some of the best storytelling I've seen from this company in a while. It is really some of the best storytelling in one angle like this. It took a long time to get there, but they had to go ahead and really make the point and hit it over the head. That if you're going to sever this 9-month storyline that everybody's invested in, everybody's under the Sami Zayn now. Listen, you built that guy up to be a star. And now, you change it. Now you get Sami Zayn here. And it's funny when you hear Roman Reigns in the commentary, like he's going after Sami Zayn, the fact, hey, what do you want to do? You want to go back to being conspiracy theorists? You want to go back to doing jackass matches? Because that's what he was doing last WrestleMania. He's not wrong. Like, the heels bringing logic into the argument, and Sami Zayn, in the logic they had, could have absolutely stuck with the Bloodline, and that would have made sense. But they didn't. Sami Zayn coming to his senses and to his... He couldn't come to his friend's aid, but what he did was... he kept showing where Roman Reigns kept putting his back in front and kept standing in front of Kevin Owens, so that was a part two. But Sami hits with a chair, complete betrayal. Everybody felt like that. And listen, when you think of the storyline too, Sami Zayn was going to go ahead and get screwed anyway, one way or another. I just kept feeling the skepticism is too much. He's not going to turn this around. And even if they keep him around, it's going to be something where he's going to continue to be bullied because he's really not part of that family. And that's what makes the story. Part of it is Sami Zayn wanted to be a part of this. He wanted to be in this. He was all in. And all of a sudden, here we go. Gets to this point when Kevin Owens gets in the way of it. And Kevin Owens is basically trying to get him out of there. Because early on, remember, we saw Kevin Owens trying to tell Sami Zayn, you need to get out of this. Like, you're going to get yourself in trouble. And here's what happens. So now you get the dynamic where if the plan was to get Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens to take the belts off the Usos, now you have that story you can tell. And eventually Sami Zayn could go after the gold as well. We don't know what they're going to do yet. We knew the Cody Rhodes won. We know the Rhea Ripley won tonight. Their respective Royal Rumble matches in very predictable fashion. the endings, at least the one for, the endings for both were okay. The match in between, about 55 minutes we didn't need. And it's part of the thing where the Royal Rumble tonight gave you a way of the booking that was kind of off. When I think about Vince coming back, and I see Triple H booking in the back, and he's like, I'm going to get these NXT 2019 guys, all these people I had that was in that Wednesday Night War against AEW, I'm going to put them up because I believe him. Like, he's a player's coach. I'm going to take my players, the ones I've been recruiting and I've been pushing myself. We're going to put them on that main roster. Look at what's going to happen in 6 months. I'm going to show you, Vince. I'm going to show you in 6 months. This crowd's going to like him. San Antonio's going to win them over. 51,000. Well, look at the names we had that were part of this match that just quiet. Crickets. No response. When I look at the Royal Rumble match for the men, Karrion Kross, no crowd response. Johnny Gargano, absolutely no crowd response. And it's not as if this crowd wasn't going to respond to people. Brock Lesnar got a major pop. Okay? Lashley got a big pop. McIntyre got a big pop. Dominik Mysterio, Judgement Day got pretty good pops. Booker T gets a tremendous pop. Edge gets a massive pop. So it's not, and Logan Paul gets a big pop. So you can't say that the crowd wasn't into all the matches. I mean, they were more or less. But when you look at what happens here, and you're saying, okay, that NXT Wednesday Night War roster, I mean, listen, they got 600,000 viewers to watch that show. And you know what? They're not getting over. I don't care how good they are. Do you understand? And this is what I've been talking about for a long time. When I saw this mid-card coming into play, this is what I said. Yeah, the mid-card is going to be good. We'll get some good workers in there. But you know what? Are they going to get over? Are they going to be over to the point that people are going to be all into it? No. Some of these stars that he had over here that were all these free agents, no. And you know what part of it is too? Is that you're going to take some of these stars that are from other organizations that already have a name for themselves. They're not completely developmental. Built from NXT all the way up. Okay? They don't have any exposure in other organizations on the way up. And when you see that, you notice the ones that have been in the WWE system for the whole time, in NXT as developmental, right? Those are the ones that will always get the loyalty. That's going to get the crowd to stay around because the crowd is going to stick with who's going to be in their company, not where they came from somewhere else. Doesn't matter how good Karrion Kross's entrance is, doesn't matter anything about, whatever gimmicks you have for other stars coming in with Tegan Knox, Indy Hartwell, Candice LeRae with no response whatsoever. That's the thing with the mid-card you have to understand. That's the biggest problem they still have. Because you did do things in the Rumble matches tonight to create logical reasons where things were kind of booked where they were. When you see that Judgment Day has all their folks out there, here comes Edge. Yeah, makes sense. Brawling Brutes, when you got Sheamus coming out there with Gunther, yeah. You had that Clash to Castle. Let's gonna restir that up to start the match. Great. And that's what you did. And, Gunther gets 17 months in that match. Gave him a long time in there. He's one of the standouts of all. And I think it's partly about how he was being booked when they brought him on the SmackDown. Because it wasn't part of Imperium. By the way, Imperium is a non-factor. His faction's a non-factor. Gunther is the standalone. Because really, his minions are just they're just henchmen. That's pretty much it. They don't really matter to the rest of the dynamic. Gunther is a standout, and that's what he is. You put him up against Brock Lesnar, have him stand up there against Strowman. Yeah, it's good. It made a lot of things where people really felt good about it. And that's what it was. But the standout stars you had out there, they're always going to get their pops, the ones that have been around. Which tells you that Vince still does what he does. Now, I'm not going to say that what Shane McMahon did last year was any better. But honestly, what difference do we have in other shows that we have with Royal Rumbles that Triple H did any better? He didn't. I don't believe he did. I am not one of these people that's going to go ahead and just insist, like, I got to make these people feel good because, come on, it's Johnny Gargano, Candice LeRae, Andy Hartwell, Karrion Kross. Like, yeah, man, listen. I know those NXT fans out there want to enjoy it. They want to go and get behind it. They want to get, it's like the steer ragtag group, the grassroots, right? The Full Sailors, right? That crew that goes to the Performance Center, they watch NXT every week. They were there in that black and gold arena all the time, the NXT arena for a long time, watching all these matches or religiously watching on the WWE Network, moving over to USA. Yeah, they did. But what have we gotten out of that? We got a lot of stars that got signed back, right? Let's not forget that. A number of stars we saw that were gone. I mean, Damage Control, same thing. It's all these stars now. And you know what? Royal Rumble comes in, at least for the purpose of making the Royal Rumble match good. There were a number of... Because remember, if Vince were doing this show, some of those stars wouldn't have been out here. You know what they would have been? They would have probably been some other legends or somebody else that would have brought back in your Dolph Ziggler's, whatever. It would have brought other people in or some other goof jobbers in there for the match. But Triple H does this. No legends, no super surprises. Your winners are predictable. Like, you kind of had the inside track. You knew who was going to win both Rumble matches. Pretty good idea. And that's it. So, I mean, if you want to go and judge the Rumble match, that's one thing. But when it comes to the overall booking of what's going on, the character development of these NXT stars, listen, if you're not doing anything else different with them, and they're just coming out doing the same thing that they did in NXT, and it wasn't that much of a bigger crowd for them, listen, what they're doing right now doesn't make a difference. The crowd doesn't care. And this is not a fair weather crowd that's like, oh, you're in, Nashville, Tennessee, or you're in Corpus Christi, Texas, some of that. You're not in some BS market. I mean, San Antonio, they came in strong. They were into everything. And when there wasn't, and so what I'm saying is, you look at what they did, and it was, you have stars that are just not getting over. And now you sign them to contracts. And you bloated the contracts now, and you bloated the roster. What good did that do? Sure, all those good people get a chance to work, but they're not doing anything for the benefit of the bottom line of the business. For WWE's bottom line. Now, I know you fans don't want to think that way, but that is the way it is. Wrestling is real, okay? They're in to make money. The Royal Rumble, what are people going to remember? Okay, they're not going to remember anything about the in-between in the Royal Rumble match except for what? The men's match, seeing Logan Paul and Ricochet clash their chests together, slapping them. I mean, that was crazy. Other than that, what else? Cody winning, Rhea winning. That's it. You could basically throw out everything else that happened in those matches, and it doesn't make a difference. Oh, Michelle McCool came back. Oh, that's nice. Booker T came back. That's nice. But still, nothing else. It doesn't matter. Oh, Nia Jax came out for a cup of coffee. That was nice. I'm happy to see her back. So I'm not saying much about the Rumble matches. I'll put a few things out there in a second. But really, that mid-card is suffering. And Triple H now learns the lesson of, you know what, where Vince has an idea about, he might have some really off-the-wall ideas, and some of his gimmicks are real shit, but the idea is that they can't come in the way they came in, right? I think that's the point. And that's actually not wrong. When you think about where storylines are coming in, look, the Judgment Day, for example. Let me just put this like here, okay? The thought process about Judgment Day getting where they were, that's an edge-crafted gimmick. The idea of having Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest initially, and they decided they're going to bring Finn Balor, which the Finn Balor part, okay, that's fine. I don't think Finn Balor makes much of a difference if he was in Judgment Day or not. Because the dynamic we know is, it's Rhea Ripley as mommy and Dominik Mysterio. Whatever they did a really smart job with Dominik Mysterio, because now he's just this goofball, one day in jail kind of thing, not even a day in jail kind of shit. It's funny. But he's getting over. The Judgment Day as a faction gets over. Otherwise, what else? We had no OC, none of the tag teams, by the way. No OC, no Viking Raiders. Street Profits were there. Alpha Academy was there. But yeah, it's like those kind of things, what are we doing? So the selection of the feuds, what they did with the Rumble, they had certain reasons for certain things to go down. That's fine. The whole deal was Lesnar coming in. Lashley comes in after. And they're both getting tossed out. And Rollins is the one that does it. That's cool. Like that, there's all the story behind that. Austin Theory being thrown out when he was in that match. That's fine. Edge comes back to avenge Judgment Day. All in the ring. Edge eliminates Balor and Priest. And the Judgment Day, because there's no DQ, they took him out anyway. And the best spears Rhea Ripley. Great. Logan Paul comes back. Hey man, they're giving us all these different things where we're having fun. I mean, there were a few things that notable. But as I said, I thought the mid-card will be improved. Listen, if I felt like the crowd, if they were receptive to some of these stars, then I would shut up. That's my point. I mean, if Karrion Kross came out to a big pop, and Johnny Gargano came out to a big pop, I would shut my mouth. I wouldn't say a word. But I've made my point over and over. They continue to be non-factors. They don't get a crowd response. They get nothing. And listen, Gargano was back from injury. Still, even with time away, it's like, who? That's the point. Now, the men's match, that's basically what happened in that match. Seth, Cody, and Gunther are the last entrants left, and Gunther was the first one in the match. And that's it. So Cody Rhodes comes in, last spot, survives, gets the win over Gunther, and the story's set. Now Cody Rhodes needs to get himself set up with Roman Reigns. We need to get that story rolling as soon as we can. Now, I'm not sure what to think about the Mountain Dew Pitch Black match. In terms of, if this was something that was, because here's what we got to say this first. The Pitch Black match never had Mountain Dew announced as a sponsor until the Royal Rumble tonight. Am I right? I don't remember seeing anything like that beforehand. They just said it was going to be a pitch black match. I didn't know what to think, what this was going to be. We never had any idea. No clue. Thought it would be dark. I did not expect black light. Well, that's the closest you got to Naomi tonight. If you wanted the glow, that was what we got. Glow sticks, right? And Bray Wyatt set up so the black light hits him like a luminol filter, right? Like one of those, you're getting hit with the black light. It looks like you got stains. How they always show the hotels and like certain investigative reports. And they say, oh look, there's sperm and piss stains and stuff all over the sheets and on the floors and the carpet, like all that kind of stuff. Luminol, right? Isn't that the luminol ray always one that the black light ray? The UV they always show when they're doing evidence to like find fingerprints and stuff, right? So there's that part, right? Or blood stains, right? There you go. This was bad. This was as bad as WrestleMania 30. What was the match? Hold on. I pulled it up earlier and I called this out too because this was really shitty, okay? Really shitty when they put this out, but like, okay. I look and I'm saying to myself, okay, they put that match. Yeah, it was a WWE title match. And this was, wow, man. This was 2017, so this would have been WrestleMania 33. And they had it where Randy Orton was in the ring, and they had like worms or maggots or whatever that were projectioned onto the ring from the top. Oh, man. I'll tell you what. They have given some real shitty things to Bray Wyatt. The Uncle Howdy thing is stupid. The whole deal with Alexa Bliss, and now she's starting to get a little bit possessed again by Bray Wyatt or getting enticed with Bray Wyatt. I hate it as well. The whole build up to the Bray Wyatt LA Knight match was shit. LA Knight pulling his Eli Drake thing. I'm saying to myself, Sean, it was his real name. Maybe that Maximum Male Models idea wasn't that bad. Maybe, I know you might have poo-pooed on it, but Max Dupree might have gotten a little bit better off if you stuck with that gimmick and not this right here. Because look what they did with you and with Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt wins in what, 5 minutes? What a horrible, horrible thing, right? And so 5 minutes, 5 seconds for that match was pure shit. Pure shit. Just saying. And then you get the Rollins title match, and that's Bianca Belair and Alexa Bliss. 7 minutes, 35 seconds for that. Why even have these matches? Like, I know you had to have title matches for some of these two opponents. Or the Bray Wyatt match was just his return. LA Knight looks like he got buried tonight. He got buried. He didn't get any wins or any kind of leverage off of Bray Wyatt. They might have had him get a little bit of heat trying to hit him with a chair, but otherwise, LA Knight got destroyed. Destroyed. So if you're going to bury that character, let's just bury the LA Knight character. Get rid of the like it's pushed, it's forced, it's not getting over. Let's just get LA Knight. Let's get him to do something else. Listen, he's a good talker. Give him anything else. Just repackage him. You don't want to do Maximum Male Models? Fine. You LA Knight, we already buried you. Let's just give you something else to do. Or don't. But right now, it's just not working. The Bray Wyatt character is another confusion. It's another where nobody knows what to do with this guy. They don't know what to do with him. They put this match together. Mountain Dew, hey, I hope you sell a whole bunch of bottles of pitch black, but I don't know if you're going to get anything off of that. But, I don't know. Horrible match. One of the worst matches in a pay-per-view. Like, it's like December to Dismember type of bad right there. Serious. So, the women's Royal Rumble match, that was good. Hey. So, Rhea starts first. Roxanne Perez wasn't there for that long. Asuka comes in, 17. Doudrop is now Piper Niven. I get the Piper Niven thing. Oh, we get the Doudrop name off of there, but you know what? Maybe they wouldn't have to go back to Piper Niven. I know that's her name out there, but that's going to be tough to say. And by the way, having the announcers, Pat McAfee coming back, that's great. He didn't give a shit about some of these stars. And Corey and Michael Cole have to like over-undulate and really just push too hard to try to convince people, Tegan Knox is back. Shotzi Blackheart and the taking care of business take. We don't care. Just don't. So many women on this roster. Failed gimmicks. Entrance mean nothing. Of the women that they have from NXT, Raquel Rodriguez gets a pretty good pop. She does. It's funny the ones on SmackDown get a little bit better pop. Liv Morgan gets a better pop over there. That's kind of interesting. But that's what happens. By the way, I got to make mention, Tamina came back, probably the best shape of her career at 19. Chelsea Green debuts at 20. And then she's quickly tossed out. Matt Cardona makes fun of it, which is funny. And Michelle McCool comes out, 25. Now, on the first time we haven't seen the first time we've seen anybody coming out of the crowd to get in the ring. But Booker T did the same thing where he was from the announce desk and got into the ring. Remember, we had to have that. Nia Jax returns at 30. That got a lot of people going. And Nia Jax had a good, nice little run in the match because there were a lot of stars left in the ring by the time she was in there. So you got that going on. Royal Rumble frontrunners win. Got it. Rhea Ripley's going to be set. Most likely, I think it's to be her and Bianca Belair, which is going to be a good feud when they set it up. And then I think we definitely get Cody and Roman. Are we going to split that belt? We don't have any clue about that. The other thing I got to make mention of when it comes to Roman Reigns and Kevin Owens and the end of their match, which the match ended 19 minutes, 15 seconds, but I give you a lot of time on that post-match angle. I forgot to make mention that Jey Uso, who defended Sami Zayn in the tribal court, he just walked away. He just kind of abandoned everyone because he didn't know what to think. But the thing was that Jey Uso he's confounded. He's frustrated because of what happened here. And that makes sense. So what they did here, overall, your matches in the start of the night, like I said, your main event, Universal Championship match, was very solid. The post-match angle was the thing to watch and go back and watch again. Otherwise, what needed to happen in storyline to get Cody Rhodes and Rhea Ripley into championship matches, because that's where they should be, that's where we're at right now. At least we know what it's going to be. We don't know what's going to go on from there, but we're going to learn more about it. There's a lot more we'll find out. We have to see what the fall of the Bloodline is from all this, which really is the only cliffhanger we have, because everything else we have is just kind of just cut and dry. I mean, it was not a great Royal Rumble. There were some good things that came from the Royal Rumble. That's what we got. Some good things that came out of it. But the booking, all that time you took on Bray Wyatt and LA Knight, and all that time you took on Bianca Belair and Alexa Bliss. Damn. For short matches, by the way. I mean, of course, they were going 4 hours, and it went past midnight, because the Royal Rumble matches were going to go an hour long anyway. You had that. Plus what they were doing with Roman Reigns and Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, they had to flesh that out too. Plus that Harvey concert, whatever. I didn't necessarily need to see that, but they gave him, I couldn't believe it. In the middle of the night, they opened up the ring, got the band out there, got the concert going, got a song in, and there you go. Okay. I don't know. There was just Triple H is getting one of these big 4 pay-per-views. War Games was probably done better, but it's also like a gimmick he likes. So the War Games gimmick for Survivor Series we liked. Remember, it wasn't bad. But Royal Rumble, this is not hard to get this off the ground and get something to go. He didn't do good this time. And that's not going to happen for WrestleMania. So, are any of these Wednesday Night War folks going to be somewhere in the picture WrestleMania time? I doubt it. And for the most part, I mean, we have inklings of what might come up in the mid-card, what other matches might get built to be those main 4 matches that'll encompass WrestleMania over both nights. But they got a lot of work to do. Probably no Rock. And, let's see what they do. I'll leave it there. I give it a C- tonight. Not happy with this. It could have been better. And for those that want to go ahead and try to hold on to hope that Triple H can get it all figured out, he's like the genius here. No, he's a player's coach. He's got his teammates. I would have rather he debuted some new stars fresh to give them a chance to shine and book them instead of going back to the recycle bin, which is what I said. You go back to Vince's recycle bin. It doesn't matter how good they are. It doesn't matter what loyalty or faithfulness you have towards them. It doesn't matter. What does, even if Vince was wrong about them, if you want to insist, you continue to think that Vince was wrong, fine. But what really happens is that you have some of these stars here that were rolling along in NXT, 2017, 2018, 2019, all these stars they brought in, free agents, didn't cut it. This main roster crowd, they're not responding to them. There's no reception for them. And they've been on TV for months. Nothing. You tell me how to fix that. So WrestleMania season's on and going. Elimination Chambers in 3 weeks. We'll do a pay-per-view post-show for that. But in the meantime, I'll come back and talk to you guys Wednesday going into Thursday. Let's see what they do. Raw should be interesting. Let's see what they do with it. And for those of you, thanks for listening. If you haven't caught this show before, Wrestling is Real podcast. Every Wednesday going into Thursday, we do it. We do post shows as well. WrestlingIsReal.com. That's the website. You can find all the back stuff on it. Because this is one of those few nights that we know the Royal Rumble, everybody's following along and watching, and everybody's catching podcasts. So I know that there might be a little spike in the numbers for me. So for those that are listening in, thanks for listening in. Come back this week for the Wrestling is Real podcast. Because wrestling needs us.
Thank you for listening to the Wrestling is Real podcast. Find past episodes anytime at wrestlingisreal.com or subscribe on Apple, Amazon, Spotify, or all major podcast distributors. Follow at King of Podcasts on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. This has been a presentation of the King of Podcasts Radio Network.